Still plus politics now. The Kogi State Governor, Yahaya Bello, and his deputy, Simon Chuba, have allocated a total number of 14 million naira for staging burial ceremonies. Now, somebody would wonder, what in the world? Well, this was contained in the 2019 Appropriation Act of the state. Yes, not a company. Now, it is, however, not clear whose burial the funds were allocated for, as no further details were included. It is really disturbing, isn't it? Well, we will look at this issue again. My guest in the studio, Steve Agiode, is a legal practitioner and he's also of the ACT Network. It's good to have you join us once again. Ugochukwu Kako is a political analyst. Thanks, Ugo, for still sticking by.
Thank you.
There's no how you tell somebody about this without having a grain of salt on your face or want to laugh a little, because we have problems, but I don't know what part of the Constitution allows that we also, keep some monies for burials. I'll start with you, Ugo. Then we'll come to the legal guy so he can tell us more. But there's just something that is out of place about this story, isn't it?
Well, is a mistake of a governor. I think I'll start from there. And
some Kogi people would not take that lightly.
I don't need them to agree with me. I don't need them to take it lightly. That's the idea, all right? So for someone that my state borders are Kogi, and I've been privileged to visit Kogi State a couple of times. But the truth is this: Kogi, in all the indices, developmental indices in Nigeria, Kogi is ranking low, all right? And this shows the kind of governance we have in this country, all right? Because we have what I call a feeding bottle federal system of government, where a governor of a state is barely doing nothing, all right? So he's not innovative. He does not have any reason to think. There's no incentive for him to govern truly. There's no incentive for him to lead. That is the kind of federalism that we have. That's the kind of system of government we have. So what happens is that the governor stays in Lokoja, the Lugard house in Lokoja, waits for a lot every 26th or 24th of each month. It comes in from the federal allocation, all right? So he can sit down comfortably and dole out close to 70 million for burials. Who died? So it does not make sense, and it's a pity, all right? This cannot be excused. This is an appropriation bill, all right, that is supposed to do is maybe a short intervention on things that are critical in terms of health care, in terms of, and you're saying that you're doing for the people of the state, you're helping people.
Could it also be that maybe the death rate of probably the poor, the downtrodden in Kogi State is pretty high, and maybe there are lots of people who write to the governor's office asking for monies to bury their dead. I'm just asking.
The thing is this, all right?
It might be.
Government does not have, I've not seen anywhere in the Constitution, maybe you explain to us, where is government's duty to bury people, all right? Government duty is to record death and birth, all right? It's not written in anywhere that Yahaya Bello should start paying for people's...
well, some people could be referred to as property of the state.
No, the thing is this is a clear-cut avenue to loot money. All right, and because there is no incentive for accountability, he's doing this. It does not make sense. All right,
I'll come back to that place of accountability first. But you are an officer of the law, so is there any, by any chance, somewhere written in tiny print in the Constitution where we're allowed to allocate monies for burial ceremonies?
Of course, it's not.
So it makes me wonder. Where is the House of Assembly on this? Because they're the ones who this appropriation goes through, and they're the ones who stamp on it or approve it before it becomes law.
Yeah. So I say I don't blame the governor for putting it. I think maybe he has a...
You don't blame the governor?
I don't blame him. Maybe he has a morbid sense of comedy. I understand in that state, salaries have not been paid for some time. People who don't earn salaries who tend to develop health problems from eating badly and die. So I don't know.
This is just... I knew we were going to get to the point where we get to laugh about it. But,
I'm not laughing, but this isn't laughing
but I'm sorry, as much as this sounds ridiculous, there are people, like you have mentioned, who need to be paid salaries. Yeah. There are people who need jobs. There are people who have learned or acquired skills that just need tiny monies to empower them to start those businesses. Why allocate 14 million to stage burials? I'm wondering, is anybody going to die anytime soon that we are not aware of within the government, God forbid?
Actually, seriously, it's absurd. What the Constitution provides for is for you to provide for the welfare, legislate for the welfare of the people. And
could this be part of the welfare, baby? You know.
no, I mean,
there's not money to
this is
bury people. So we have a lot of dead people in the morgues. Nobody's coming to claim them.
This is a morbid joke. The government is for the living. The government is for the living, and the government is to keep people
What about
alive.
the dead in the morgue? They're still property of the state, aren't they? It's a genuine question.
No, you see, the problem is that you should seek as a government to be lowering your death rate. If there's such a problem, instead of budgeting for that kind of morbid thing, maybe you should actually be looking into why people are dying. You should start looking at, is it because I'm not paying salaries? You start looking at, is it because my hospitals are not good? You start looking at, why, is it because people are living under tremendous stress in that state? You should ask yourself questions, because the Constitution says you are supposed to take care of their welfare.
Ugo, I used to think that the most interesting and very comedic governor for this administration was my state governor, because he's a big... And then, you know, we also used to have an Okorocha, but that's gone now. But for Yahaya Bello, I'm wondering, because I have met people from Kogi State who are amazingly intelligent, and you talked about accountability. Are there no people in that state that can call for accountability, that could hit the streets and demand an explanation from this governor? Because over time, there have been so many accusations. I mean, I've heard that he's actually gone to commission some ridiculous, you know, things. Are there no, what is the place of the voice of the people in Kogi? Because we keep hearing these ridiculousness and nobody really says anything about it.
I think for me, like I was saying earlier, in terms of my legal knowledge is rusty, right? I'm not a lawyer, but I know that there is no provision for the state to make provision for dead people, like that amount of budget. So it's ridiculous already, you understand? And it's an indictment on Yahaya Bello. And it's an indictment on Nigeria youth, right? We're talking about having the young people in governance. He's not up to 45 or so, and he's doing a terrible job, all right? I'm from Anambra State. We used to have the governor that had one of the worst ratings, Chiwokem Badunju, all right? So for Yahaya Bello to, at this level, he has outdone Chiwokem Badunju in terms of being a terrible leader, all right? So for me, this is the same guy that has arrested journalists. All right, people that spoke against him, that wrote things on Facebook and rest of them, he had them arrested using the state apparatus to keep them in jail. All right, so it's not about the people. You see, like he said, like he rightly said, all right, if people are dying in Kogi State, that you have to make such a big amount of money available for their burial, it's an indictment on you, young man. You are not doing your job.
Why are you absolving the people of that state? He's a governor of the people. Where is the voice of the people? I'm not absorbing the people.
Like I just said, the same people, some people have...
Because whether we like it or not, people put him there.
Some people have...
And if he's not doing the job, why are we not asking for accountability? Why are the right questions not being asked?
Some people have criticized him and he got them
is
in jail.
Enough?
He got them in jail.
Is that enough?
Is that about... Do you know why that is not happening? You know why? Because Yahaya Bello has intentionally decided not to do anything. He's making his people poor, hunger, and they're suffering. Right? So for an average person in Kogi, I'm not saying a Kogi man that lives in Lagos, that is doing well, that is working in a multinational company, that is in Kogi State, that has not been paid salaries for more than 6 months. It does not make sense in God's green earth that for the person to start protesting. And he's back there a second time. He's back for a second time. It does not make sense in God's green earth for the person to start protesting.
What this really speaks to is the dysfunctionality of our democracy. The people that are supposed to check a governor are the House of Assembly. People elect people into the legislature to check governors. You see, there are 3 branches of government: judiciary, and you have legislature, and you have the governor.
The executive, yeah.
Yeah, and the executive. The legislature is supposed to be a check on the executive. But what you find in our country is that we have virtually turned the state into a criminal conspiracy. So what you find is that the legislature and the executive are hand in glove. Instead of checking each other, they conspire to rob the people. I am sure that if he had a responsible and accountable legislature in his state, he would not put those kind of morbid things in a budget. I mean, those things are really ridiculous and sad.
In one sentence each, gentlemen, because we're running out of time. I'm taken aback by this. I mean, I thought I saw it all. I've seen it all, but every day in Nigeria we get to see something new.
You see,
what does this mean for the people of Kogi? Where do we go from here? Because this is like the worst of the worst. If there be anything that would, I mean, I won't be surprised if something worse comes. But how long do you see a Kogi state going on with this kind of bad governance? Because the truth is, it's bad governance.
Well, I don't see salvation in sight for them. All right, I'm not trying to be Prophet Jeremiah, prophet of doom. But at this point, I read what the deputy governor said. That you have people visiting the governor and himself. The deputy governor even has money that was awarded to him for burials too, not just the governor himself. So the deputy governor has his own share. All right. So at the end of the day, it shows the kind of democracy we have. All right. For example, he is a member of the APC. There's a national party. Can't you call him to order? And also, he tells poorly about the PDP, the main opposition in the Kogi state, all right? You cannot call yourself the opposition. You have the minority leader in the house, all right? And you're not asking him to do something. You're not checkmating him, all right? All we see is a baby fight between the governor and Dino Melaya, which does not profit the people anything, all right?
So we have misplaced priorities?
So these are misplaced priorities. So if you are the opposition in Kogi State, get to work, all right? Get the civil society, get the journalists, get the people to talk, all right? Because at the end of the day, I'm not from Kogi State, all right? I cannot cry more than the bereaved, all right?
Of course.
So, but the thing is this, we have to put our voice together, say this is wrong, but the people have to lead with change, all right? We know that the people are hungry because this same man systematically have refused to pay salaries and pensions. So,
okay. I said a sentence, Ugo. You've taken the whole, you know.
Because I'm not happy with her.
Quickly, we need to go.
Let me just summarize it. A sentence. Kogi State, apart from Zamfara State, which I consider the worst case, the basket case of this country, Kogi State comes a close second. You only need to mention the names, Smart Adeyemi, Dino Malai, then you have the governor. I mean, it says it all. One does not need to say more.
Well, it's a terrible situation, but we hope that the people of Kogi State will see the light and do the needful. I want to say thank you very much to Steve Agiode. He is of the ACT Network and he's a legal practitioner, and Ugochukwu Ikaiko, political analyst. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Well, we'll take a break and bring you our Plus package, and when we return, I will be giving you my take. Stay with us.
The Young African Leaders Initiative, YALI, has criticized the unavailability of young Nigerians capable of contributing positively to governance. The group, while speaking to newsmen in Abuja ahead of its planned leadership training summit, said the summit will help equip Nigerian youths with the capacity to participate in governance, make quality leadership decisions, and contribute to governance at all levels of the society. They also added that Nigerian youths must prove to the world that they are capable of leading millions of Nigerians yearning for quality representation.
Africa has the largest youth age group across the world, with over 200 million people aged between 15 and 24 years as of 2015, accounting for 19% of the global youth population. UNECA studies in 2015. By 2030, it is projected that the number of youths in Africa will have increased by 42%. Despite this number, investment in the socio-economic empowerment and participation of young people in decision-making processes on the continent is limited. This year's Yearly Network Summit will not only unpack the key issues facing youths in the 21st century in a developing economy like Nigeria, but also the strategies that can be adopted to address these issues. The theme of this year's summit is Paradigm Shifts, Youth Inclusion in Government Policies for Sustainable Development. It aims to catalyze the abilities of young African leaders participating from various structured Yali hubs across Nigeria to lead and act in their respective communities. This will serve as a resolution-focused advocacy project, encouraging inclusive governance, development, and public-private partnership in helping youth to tackle these challenges. The Yali Network Summit is designed to catalyze the abilities of young African leaders to take up initiatives that will reinforce and ease the role of government in creatively providing the needs of youths and ensuring accountability at all levels. We recognize that for citizens to enjoy the dividends of democracy, governments, institutions, and individuals must include youths too.
Time for my take. I'm just going to say this from my heart, really. If INEC is being truthful and being transparent to Nigerians, I'm sure we wouldn't have so many cases of people saying, I'm contesting this result, I don't believe that these are the number of votes we have. If we say INEC is independent, it needs to be as transparent as possible. Yes, we cannot get perfection, but can we get something close to it? So dear INEC, please give us a reason to trust you, to hold on to your every word, so that we don't have to raise an eyebrow every time you say something or ask you to, say it again or come and clear it for us as a people. We cannot have a true democracy if we cannot trust the body that is in charge of our electioneering process. It would be a shame of a nation if we cannot in any way. We're celebrating 20 years, by the way, of democracy. But is it really a true democracy if we cannot trust the electioneering process? The EU observation team has put out something. Can we take it to heart? Can we do something about it? Can we try as much as possible to change our electoral process? Maybe that way we can really truly say that we have a democracy. And moving on to Kogi State, by the way. Just as my guests have said this evening, unfortunately, the Kogi people have found themselves in this situation. We're asking for young leaders, bright ideas, people who can lead us to a better tomorrow. And here we are. Even the young have somewhat become part of the establishment that are robbing the people of what they duly deserve. The number one duty of the government is to protect lives and property and make sure that the people's welfare is properly taken care of. But in the case of Yahaya Bello, the ridiculousness that comes from that state is unheard of. And it makes me wonder, where are the people of Kogi State on this? Where do they stand? Are they ready to take to the streets and say this is wrong? How do you budget 14 million for burials? What burials are you staging when the people are hungry? Or is this a deliberate attempt to really bury people? Well, if I were from Kogi, I would be on the street. I would wear a placard on my body, standing in front of the government house every day, come rain, come sun, asking that the government explain to me why they want to bury more people than better the loss of the people. So, hey, Kogi people, the ball is in your court. Well, that's my take. It's been Plus Politics. I am Maryann. I'll see you tomorrow.